Impungathemba nhlanganiso masuku liyada nalo kutokhulumisa tindzaba letichubekako eveni. Channel Yemaswati sonke isikhathi. Good evening and welcome to Channel Yemaswati News. My name is Kanyisile Mabuza. Before we start with our news bulletin, let's take a look at our top stories making headlines this half an hour. The Minister for Home Affairs, Her Royal Highness Princess Lindiwe, today officially launched the legal identification mopping up exercise. The Minister for Health, Senator Lizinkosi, officially presented 5 ambulances worth 4.8 million in Malangeni to 5 health centers around the kingdom. And finally, fuel prices are set to go up as of midnight tonight. Before we carry on with our news bulletin, viewers at home, I'd like to take this opportunity and reiterate the message that you have just seen of the Mgciniwe campaign by the Ministry of Health, the NDMA, sponsored by ESWATINI. It basically encourages everyone to adhere to all the protocols put in place to fight against the spread of COVID-19. And now, let's get into the news in detail. The Minister for Home Affairs, Her Royal Highness Princess Lindiwe, today at Mhlangadane, at an area called Mbofu in the Northern Ho region, officially launched the legal identification mopping up exercise. This exercise is going to assist Yemaswati and the Ministry of Home Affairs countrywide register everyone who does not have any national identification or birth certificate. Let's have a report. The Minister for Home Affairs, Her Royal Highness Princess Lindiwe, today launched the legal identification mopping up exercise, whereby they are encouraging all Yemaswati who do not have any form of identification from birth certificates to a national ID to go and have their registrations done at the nearest convenience places. This campaign entails that the ministry is going to be located or situated at all places, even in the rural areas, to allow access to people who are going to save on costs and actually go and get their registrations done. The minister stated that this is going to allow them to register for birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates, as well as identity cards and traveling documents.
Uyatiwa kunesikhulu kunabandla lotawufike asitshele athi siyamati lona uqhamuka lapha akazibani siyamati lona uqhamuka lapha khona sitokwati ukuthi sibhalise umfule esatiko ukuthi iswati mbamba kungako-ke side lapha ukuthi ikhulu titogcizelela ukuthi siyamati ngoba abantu abakhoni kuyofika ledolobheni nabo bonke labantu abafakazela ukuthi siyabati siboneke ukuthi-ke aside-ke likhulwini itobafakazela tutana. Sicela-ke bonke Yemaswati lalangakabhalisi ukuthi abasukume ngentinkhani vele sesikhathi nayifika lelo libhaliso evela ngakini vele sukuma ungadali phansi utobhaliswa.
Tina Mukunda, who is the director of World Vision in the Kingdom of Eswatini, expressed their utmost appreciation for this initiative, stating that they do understand that it is a national exercise, but they are more interested in the aspects that it is going to give children an equal chance at life because everyone is going to be registered and identified in the system of the country.
Organize this and also to be here, and also the commitment and the drive that you have to take this beyond even this occasion. So I know today we are looking at the CV registration, but allow me to speak more into birth registration because that is what is very connected to us as World Vision since we are a child-focused organization.
Mvilaweni Dlamini, who is the chief executive of the Eswatini Communications Commission, stated that they are working hand in hand with the Ministry of Home Affairs in the ICT aspects because they donated 14 computers that are going to assist speed up the exercise.
kungatsingi ukuthi bagibele baetsethe imali basaya le madolobheni kuyawuthola lama services etinkundla lavena.
And the minister stated that this is an exercise that is going to last for the coming 7 months. I'm Khanyisile Mabusa for Channel Yemaswati News. Mpofu Mhlangatani. The Minister for Health, Senator Nkosi, today officially opened the cervical cancer unit at the Mangayane Government Hospital. The minister stated that this is going to assist in saving many lives of Yemaswati. This follows the fact that the month of October, which we have just passed, was one of cervical cancer awareness. Let's take a look at this following story.
The Minister of Health, Senator Nkosi, today officially launched a cervical cancer unit at the Mangayane Hospital, which was donated by the U.S. government through PEFAM. The minister said that this unit will help save many lives, especially patients of cervical cancer. The donation is worth over 7 million in Malangeni.
The donation of the cancer screening and treatment equipment to Mangayane Hospital and Good Shepherd Hospital, AHF in Matsapa in Strovela, is of great benefit to the Kingdom of Eswatini. Upgrading these facilities into centers of excellence will help Eswatini to save a lot of money as government will be able to utilize this and ensure that there are no delays in treatment of cancer. You will agree with me that late diagnosis and treatment results in poor outcomes and sometimes loss of lives, yet it is expensive to treat.
The U.S. Ambassador in the Kingdom of Eswatini, Jean Milone, said that as the government of the United States, they are delighted to continue working with the Kingdom of Eswatini in saving lives.
The U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR, in collaboration with the George W. Bush Institute, the Joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS, Merck and Roche, are investing financial and technical resources to improve access to quality screening and treatment services through the Go Further initiative.
For Yemaswati Channel, I'm Kerry Carlos with Dlamini, Mangayane.
The Minister for Health, Senator Nkosi, today also presented 5 ambulances to 5 health centers from all over the Kingdom of Eswatini. The launch, the presentation was made at Cooper Center in Babane, where she stated that this is going to go a long way as the ambulance is actually becoming very scarce around the country. These ambulances are worth 4.8 million in Malangeni. We have a report.
Lama ambulance siwabuke ukuthi atawuya kulama facilities lang 5 lesikhulumile kakhulume ngawo PS itayasemkhuzeni Health Center ibe eSthobela eLubombo Referral Hospital eHlatikhulu Government Hospital nase National Psychiatric Referral Hospital. Loko akusho ukuthi lama facilities lawa ngiwo kuphela la shoda ngama ambulance.
Umphathi wesibhedlela seNgcondo Neliswa Mabaso Facilities, especially my facility, I'm from the National Psychiatric Hospital, so we haven't had an ambulance for the past 2 years. So we have been improvising by borrowing ambulances from other neighboring facilities.
At this point in time, let's take a look at the statements from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy alerting Yemaswati of the fuel hike.
A statement from the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources, Mrs. Dorcas Dlamini, stated that there will be an increase in fuel prices in the kingdom, which will come in effect on midnight Thursday, the 40th of November 2021, and it will be effective on Friday, the 5th of November 2021. The increment has been necessitated by the international crude oil price increase, which reached an average of $85 31 cents per barrel in the month of October 2021, from an average of $75 85 cents in the month of August 2021. This is alongside the crude oil price increase in the Lilangeni and dollar exchange rate, which had an average of 14.84 cents in the month of October 2021, compared to an average of 14.43 cents in the month of August 2021. The prices will be as follows. Petrol price will increase from 15.5 cents per litre to 16.25 cents per litre. Diesel will increase from 15 per litre to 16.20 cents per litre. Paraffin price will increase from 9.75 cents per litre to 10.95 cents a litre. The ministry encouraged the public to use fuel efficiently as the international oil markets and the Lilangeni dollar exchange rate remain unfavorable. This is a statement from the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources, Mrs. Dorcas Dlamini.
Today was the proceeding of the inquest on the death of Thabani Nkomonye, where a constable, Blondie Mdluli, denied having been present to disperse the crowd at a place called The Vibe in Manzini and Ngwane Park, even though the MTN signal on his cell phone number actually indicates that he was at the very same place during that day. Let's have a report.
Today, when Thabani Nkomonye's inquest continued at the correctional services, a traffic cop that was on duty on the weekend of Nkomonye's missing, whose police officer, Constable Blondie Mdluli, appeared before the coroner. Advocate Tsotsi Mabila asked Mdluli if he is someone who does not like speaking the truth, or that there is something he is trying to hide in his answers. Mdluli was asked which cars were working on the day, and he answered a vet car was on duty. That is when Mabila asked, would he be lying if he said there was a sedan? And that is when Mdluli answered he had forgotten. Mdluli continued to explain before the coroner about their working schedule and the cars they were using. Advocate Tsotsi Mabila then asked Mdluli where he was on the 8th of May 2021. That is when Mdluli replied he was not on duty. Mabila told Mdluli that he was one of those that were sent to disperse a crowd at a popular hanging spot at the Vibe in Ngwane Park. Mabila continued to explain that Mdluli's phone signal said he was at Ngwane Park, and that is when he mentioned, yes, he went to Ngwane Park, but not to disperse any crowd, but instead he had gone to see someone. Mabila explained to Constable Mdluli that his phone signal showed that he was at the Vibe, and that's when Mdluli disputed he did not go to the Vibe, but he was next to the Vibe at Esikayweni. Mabila further explained that the phone of the person that Mdluli claims he had gone to see, it signaled that it was at Salesian. Mabila told Mdluli that he is lying. He did not go to Ngwane Park to meet with anyone, but he had gone to disperse a crowd as he was advised. Lawyer Nkomonze told Mdluli that he knows very well what happened to Thabani, and Mdluli denied knowing anything. Reporting for Yemaswati channel, I am Nhlanhla Twala.
Mani, khumbula kutsi kuchawulana nekutsintsana kungathelelana i-COVID-19. Qaphela, Khumbula kutsi kubambelana sinatwa engilasini yinye nako kungathelelana i-COVID-19. Ungachubeki. Khumbula kuvikela labaseceleni kwakho ngekutsimulela ingosela. Bagcini besive, asente kuhamba ngemigomo ekuvikela i-COVID-19. Indlela lensha yetfu sonke ekuphila, kute sitigcine siphephile, kanye nesive sonke, asikhumbutane njalo ngalesikutshelwa litiko letemphilo nge-COVID-19. Asikwende konke, gcoka sifonyo, geza tandla ngensipho nemanti lahambako, gcina umkhatsi, uphindze ugweme ticuku. Mgcini wesive, ungapheli mandla, i-COVID ingakapheli.
Thamela luhlelo iPeople and Places ngalesine kuleli viki. Ngensimbi yesiphohlongo uyabuya umnumzane Esihle Dlamini loqhamuka eKing's Office kude uphendvula imibuto yebabukeli labayibuda evikini uma ngene ehlelweni. Kutawuthi kungashaya insimbi yemfica liphini landvunankulu imphungathemba nhlanganiso masuku liyeta nalo kutokhulumisa tindzaba letichubekako efeni. Channel Yemaswati, sonke skhathi.
Baba nanyamane.
Sake ngikhumbulile. Hamba nje ekuseni sengibuya ngikhumbulile. Basisita ke mfana. Ngoba bese kukhala libhungane la. Zonke tindlu zahlala emthini. Ngiyayibona le ndaba.
Basita phela bahulumende ufika sinika labantwana kanti vele nangemhamba itoro bantwana bebakhulela kubantu abadzala umceli nakulomunye etatombi basise ekhaya.
Bantwa bethu foster care help raise the future bethembethini.
Do it all from the palm of your hand. With the Eswatini Ministry of Health Alert app, you can get access to the app by getting the link from the Eswatini Ministry of Health social media pages and by scanning the QR code found on posters. Use the WhatsApp number 79436585 and send hi. Then, following the prompts, you can get to register for your COVID-19 jab. Get the latest updates on COVID-19 and even get access to a healthcare professional. There's so much more at your fingertips with the Eswatini Ministry of Health. Do it all. Vaccinate, wash your hands, and wear a mask.
Libandla iBreath of Life Church limemetela i-massive deliverance. Mhlaka 9 October eKembas Crusade eMbabane nga-12 kuya ku-2:30 p.m. Nawe woda utawubona emandla aNkulunkulu agucula impilo yakho. Ungashaya kunati tinombolo lotibonako.
Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us. I'd also like to take this opportunity and welcome all of our viewers who have just tuned into channel Yemaswati News. And now we shall continue with our news in detail. The Swatini Action Group Against Abuse today at the Royal Villas had an engagement whereby they were looking at the implementation of the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act of 2018 during the time of COVID-19, the pandemic, as well as the political unrest in the Kingdom of Eswatini, where unfortunately it was disclosed that many gender-based violence cases actually rose at the time because people did not have access to help. Let's have a report.
Today at the Happy Valley Hotel, Eswatini Action Group Against Abuse, in collaboration with the International Commission of Jurists, did the implementation of the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act of 2018 in the context of COVID-19 pandemic and the political unrest that occurred in the kingdom. Speaking during the event, the director for SWACA, Mrs. Nanhlanhla Dlamini, stated that there was an increase in number of gender-based violence, especially in families during the lockdown period in the kingdom. She mentioned that some victims had difficulty in accessing services that will be of help following the abuse. Dlamini further stated that what perpetuated the abuse mostly is that people lost their jobs during the pandemic and some lost their relatives, which resulted into depression and stress.
we did anticipate an increase in gender-based violence cases. And this is evident in one of the slides that I'm going to share with you. It has been evident that most violence happens at home. And most violence is perpetrated by people that we know. Whilst in our education, we're always telling our children, be careful of strangers, very few strangers are actually perpetrators according to our statistics. The reason behind having this workshop is because as a country, we've had a huge milestone in the enactment of the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act in 2018. A piece of legislation that we've worked for over 2 decades. And when it finally became law, we were all happy and excited. And when people were complaining about it, we were happy again, because the reason they were complaining was because they felt it was biting.
She concluded by adding that people who were most affected by gender-based violence are women and children. I am Zandile Mpapane for Channel Yemaswati News with Mkolis Mavuso, ESWATINI.
Today in Mangayane, nurses engaged in a strike whereby they were complaining of the shortage of drugs, amongst others. The Minister for Health responded to their grievances in the following report.
Today, the nurses of Mangayane Hospital saw an opportunity to protest in front of the Minister of Health, Senator Lizinkosi, at the hospital. The nurses asked the minister to address issues that affect them, such as the shortage of drugs and they are understaffed. The minister responded by assuring the workers that the ministry is doing all it can to resolve the issues.
Siyakwati sibe netinkinga letinkingi bese sitintfo tingcono saba netinkinga letinengi ba deliveries, but i-central medical stores iyachubeka iyadeliver. Siyati ke lokho ukuthi akubi ngiyo yonke imithi ihlala khona lokushodako. Tikhalo tenu te-safety angikubeke nje kahle ukuthi i-safety priority yethu sine njengelitiko letempilo. Safety yetisebenti taka-health is a priority. Ngoba ningekho safe, ningakhona ukusebenta safely, then angeke sikhone kuniketa civil service labayifunayo. So siyakhulumisana nema-security forces kakhulu ngalele kwendekile le bekucala usikwendeke kabuhlungu kangaka.
Simpiwe Ngwenya, speaking on behalf of the nurses, said that as health workers they've had enough because they feel like the ministry is not doing enough.
Things that the nurses have been complaining about, chief of them being the police brutality. And then what makes the nurses to be like they are? Like you can see what they're doing. Actually, first of all, it must be known that they are not protesting against whatsoever is happening. Instead, most importantly, they are protesting against mostly and vitally the police brutality, and on which there is nothing that has been done to give assurance to the nurses that it is going to be addressed. We have had a lot of nurses that have been brutalized. I think my brother can attest. You've been to these government institutions like this ones, whereby it has always been very, very painful that a Gogo that travels a million miles away from where they are to come to the hospital to seek for medical treatments, they cannot get anything. It's only a Panadol and then they go back. Do you think about these monies that these nurses, these Gogos of ours pays to come to the hospital, and then they get nothing, then they go back there? So it's about the distribution of medication, of which there's not been here in the hospital for quite some time. And I cannot even count how many drugs have been out of stock and stuff. And then we've been trying to make the administration to see and address those issues, but unfortunately no one has bothered to address those issues. Number two. Number three, shortage of staff, my brother. It has always been a problem. Sometimes the nurses work up until they have been out, but still no one wants to take care of what is happening.
For Yemaswati Channel, I'm Kerry Carlos, Kalmpilo Dlamini, Mangayane.
The Eswatini Standards Authority prides itself in announcing that Eswatini currently has developed 270 standards. This was revealed today at the Happy Valley Hotel, whereby we were commemorating the World Standards Day. Let's have a report.
The Kingdom of Eswatini under Eswatini Standards Authority today at the Happy Valley Hotel commemorated the World Standards Day. This day is commemorated annually on the 14th of October. During the commemoration, it was revealed that the International Standards Organization in the Kingdom was able to develop 270 standards operators. Mr. Philip Mdawe, the Standards Development Manager at Eswatini Standards Authority, stated the importance of celebrating this day.
This is a day normally commemorated on the 14th of October. But this year, we have postponed it to this day. We are gathered here at Happy Valley Motel today. In this particular day, we normally recognize the TC members. Those are the people who are involved in standards development. It's not only us here in Swaziland, but the world over, where the International Standard Organization, the International Electrotechnical Commission, the International Telecommunication Union, they all commemorate this day on the 14th by recognizing the technical committee members. As we are gathered here today, the TC members have developed 19 standards. 11 of those standards were developed recently, and another 8 was developed in the beginning of the year.
I am Zandile Mpapane for Channel Yemaswati News with Mxolisi Mavuso ezulwini.
And now for our sports news. 3 lucky winners were presented with checks of 50,000 emalangeni by Mula Sport. They actually bet and hit the jackpot by betting over 10 teams. The presentation was held in Manzini today.
Today, Mula Sport awarded 3 checks of 50,000 Malangeni to 3 lucky winners who played the jackpot that was being run by the company. Head of marketing for Mula Sport, Scott, said that as a company, they are delighted to be awarding the checks, and they do urge Yemaswati to participate in the jackpot.
Mula Sport best win is 50,000 jackpot. Yakala on the 22nd of September. And then Lena jackpot yam saga 30 and 31. So bantu pepa solo bangai winning. So these labai 3 labai winile on the 30th and 31st sing laba bekala who win alo 50,000 lebe solo simwinis. And they have bebakona sabamuelisa lo 50,000 but for la basitshela ke ukuthi bajabulile kakhulu ukuthi finally baze ba winning ngoba solo bayazama ukuyidlala solo yaqala. Jackpot bofanele uwine the first 7 matches kuleli tikiti lakho, and then better on 10 actually. Bese uwina the first 7 matches and the 3 reserve matches in case aya cancel one of the 7. But bona ke laba winile ba wine vele onke lama matches out kuleli tikiti.
The 3 lucky winners say that they are grateful to Mula Sport for keeping their promises. For Yemaswati Channel, I'm Kerry Carlos with Kalmbilo Dlamini, Manzini.
And with that, we have come to the inevitable end of our news bulletin. But before we sign off, let's take a look at our top stories making headlines once again. The Minister for Home Affairs, Her Royal Highness Princess Lindiwe, officially launched the legal identification mopping up exercise at Mhlangadane in the Northern Hoho region. The Minister for Health, Senator Lizinkosi, made a presentation of 5 ambulances to 5 health care centers in the Kingdom of Eswatini worth 4.8 million emalangeni. And finally, fuel prices will be hiking as of midnight tonight. Thank you very much for staying with us. I do hope you will have a good night. And I'm going to leave you again with a message from the Ministry of Health, the National Disaster Management Agency, sponsored by UNICEF Eswatini. May God bless you.
Chima. Ọ dị egwu ihe nke akwụga n'obodo Hey! Ọ na-akwụ.
What is worrying?
You've not heard.
What is worrying?
Chima, so you've not heard.
And what?
You've not heard the rumor going about. You've not heard the rumor going round the village. People said that they will no longer come to your bar to patronize you. Yes. That because you're keeping Obiageli in your house, harboring her, despite the darkness that is surrounding her, that you're still keeping her in her house, that you're still keeping her in your house, that they no longer have anything to do with you. Yes. They say they don't want anything that will link them to Obiageli because it's now obvious that Obiageli is a witch. That is what everybody say, you know.
Does Obi walk in my bar? Does she walk in my bar? What business do they have with her?
She doesn't walk in your bar, but she's living in your house.
Okay, let them say whatever they like. Who cares? I
know you will not care now because she's your sister. You will not care because Obi is your sister. Then you look at it. My 3 daughters have been sent back from their husbands' homes. Yet you don't care. One of our daughters is even misbehaving with the village layabouts, parabolating and parading all over the place with that riffraff. You still don't care.
She's been forced to misbehave with the village layabout, or it's part of your character.
They didn't force her.
Your character.
Chima, Chima, you don't care where? You don't care. Even though we are sitting on a time bomb that will soon explode, you still don't care. And I mean, you. Chima, I am beginning to suspect you. How am I sure that you're not also a wizard? Yes, you're a wizard and your sister is a witch. That is why you don't care about all these happenings around us.
Then you are the wife of a wizard.
Chima, you are Mosu. You are
the wife of a wizard. Look at her. Every time Obi. No fefa, she no Obi. No fefa, she no Obi. Oh, chicha gafe Obi. Can you hear why I'm Meruno? Is this not her father's house? I'm a wizard and you are still here. Why don't you go to your house? That's the news in Igbo that I'm listening to. They may disrupt. To get this station again is going to